The HR meeting is called to order at 8:13 p.m. Thanks everyone for being here. I'm sorry, it was probably a really tiring meeting. So thanks for making the time. Is Martha joining us?
She is expected, yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we were going to executive session tonight. I think most of what we can talk about could be public.
You know what, last time when we came out of executive session, I think we defaulted to starting to use people's names. So I think it might be better to go. I feel like it's better to go into executive session because we do tend to start using the candidates' names.
Okay.
Unless anybody else feels differently, that's just my viewpoint.
So Martha will go to executive session with us. Okay.
Is that possible to do, Kathy?
I'm sorry, I was reading the chats from the last meeting. No. Okay, we're a small group. Frankly, I thought perhaps that might facilitate paring down the viewership of our last meeting. So it doesn't sound like we need to go into executive session. If we want to talk about a particular candidate, we'll do it after we deal with Martha tonight. So,
Okay.
So for the time being, I think
I'm going to deal with you, Martha.
That's always what you want to hear from the HR committee.
Martha, thank you for joining us.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure you probably just put the baby to bed and stuff like that, or
Oh no, he's still
to bed
awake.
instead.
Oh dear.
He's
But thank
working on
you.
a tooth.
Thank you so much, because you, I think, are key. And so maybe we could start with yours and Bonnie's section of the meeting, because I think if we can figure out the times for the staff, then we can build the rest of the schedule around that. And so Bonnie's really been taking the lead on that. So maybe Bonnie, can I hand it over to you for schedule?
Sure. So Martha and I were in touch over email. I think I copied everyone on them. So we have some time on October 26th from 2:30 to 3:30, exclusively for the candidate number 1 to spend time. I think Martha said they're going to split it 50-50, 30 minutes with the department heads and 30 minutes with the staff.
Mm-hmm.
If Martha,
this is Wednesday.
This is October 26th, yeah,
Okay.
Wednesday. So Martha, if you could just confirm the location for that, we'd just like to be clear on where these things are happening.
It's either the Spruce or the youth activity room, which is not helpful. Let me check real quick. I can tell you for sure.
Yeah, because I think we're planning on using the Spruce room that evening for the board interviews of the candidates. And I just want to make sure that we've got the room set up however we decide we want to have the room layout.
Okay.
Because there's slime in the youth activity room.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, so if there's slime, well, actually, I'm just gonna look because I have now looked at these meeting entries so many times that I've forgotten what is what. Okay. You know, if you send them to the desk, that's always an option. I'm on my husband's computer, so I don't have the library logins, but let me try. If you'll excuse me for just a moment, I'll get that here. Okay.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and show everyone the screen of the spreadsheet, right? So this is option 2 that I emailed this morning, last night, I think, whereby.
Bonnie, would you be able to email that in a larger font?
Yes,
really, really minuscule when I try to print it out.
yes. In fact, let me see
Right.
if I can make it bigger right now.
Okay.
I took it down to see if I can make the font bigger now.
Okay, Wednesday would be the spruce room.
Oh, how do I show your screen, Bonnie?
I can do it.
Oh, okay.
So you should be able to see the spreadsheet now.
Yes.
Okay, and I enlarged the fonts a little bit.
Thank you.
So candidate 1, location, yeah, this is spruce. Okay, and then, so candidate 1, the schedule would be first a lunch, hopefully with 2 trustees. I am available and can do that. Then a tour of the library, and Martha, I don't know if we should have a trustee do that or if a staff member might be available to do that at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we should be able to do that. It's we do it for all job candidates, so we have a whole spiel at this point.
Great.
If you'd prefer that, whatever works is fine with me.
Do you know who that would be at this time, or do you want to come back to us with who it's likely to be?
Probably usually the way that we do it is like I'll do the upstairs and Eliza does the downstairs. So I can confirm that she's available.
Mhm.
And yeah, we should be able to do that, no problem.
Got it. And then for the more informal meet and greet with all the staff who are available at that time, and then 30 minutes with the directors, have you thought through or gotten input from the team on what sequence you'd like to do those 2 things in?
I think we were talking about doing department heads first, and then general staff, or the rest of the staff, just because that kind of mimics what we would normally do anyway, in a hiring situation.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And is there anything in terms of like, I don't know, coffee, tea, water that you'd want to have in the spruce room for that? Maybe refreshed later in the day?
I would have to check and see if we have, pre-pandemic, we used to have like water bottles available, and I don't know if we've resumed doing that. So I'd have to double check, but that shouldn't be too difficult to.
I can drop
Make-
some off tomorrow. I'll just, those, the 8-ounce ones, the smaller ones, and then they'll just be available.
Yeah, sure.
And then in terms, so that would be like a pretty busy 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it, different events that the candidate would go through. Then I recommend just, giving the person a break. And then conduct a tour of Lake Bluff, probably trustee led, because I don't know if the staff should leave the library. And that would include, kind of a look at the other village resources, at the rec center, the golf course, of course, a little walk through downtown. So I've allotted 30 minutes for that. I've never done this before. If anyone has an idea of if 30 minutes is or is not an
Well,
appropriate amount of time.
That's not gonna work because at 3, anywhere from 3 to 3:45, if you try to go west on 176 to Green Bay, it's all landscape trucks. And that in itself is 30 minutes.
Okay,
So that's
so
just
maybe,
not gonna work.
great, good catch. So maybe we invert tour of Lake Bluff and library tour.
I think that'd be a really good idea.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to get anywhere at Lake Bluff.
Yeah.
Around,
And school buses, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just miserable.
I tell my husband that all the time, like, I don't want to leave the house between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock.
It goes well beyond 4 o'clock, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Okay. And then in terms of the board interview starting around 4:15. How many trustees are available at 4:15?
I'm available.
So it would just be,
I think Matt and Bill were the two that were having trouble with that time, maybe, and I don't know about John.
Matt, I don't believe is available. Bill might be at the end of the day, but we need to get him the schedule and he would let us know. And I told Jenny, as soon as we complete this, I will send it to John as an FYI.
Yeah.
Maybe if it's later in the day, he'll be available. I don't know.
Yeah. You might be able to work something out.
Would you be able to send this to me too, once it's finalized?
Yeah, I'd like to make sure the candidates have it before it leaves the trustees, but yes, we can provide it
Yeah,
to
no,
you. And
that's
yeah.
fine, just at some point, because I know that I will definitely not retain 100% of the information on this.
And
At
the spruce room,
8:30, yeah, no
the spruce
problem.
room will be set up with tables and chairs for conversation.
Yeah, we can do that.
so I have parent teacher conferences that start at 5:10. I don't know how many people we're looking for the interviews. My parent teacher conferences go from 5:10 to 6:10.
Which brings up an interesting point. If you're available before 5:10,
Yeah,
do we potentially start this interview at 4? Is there any sense in starting the interview any sooner? Because
well,
candidate 2 is only, if we really leverage the morning of October 27th, which when I sent this note out, I said, I feel like it would de-escalate the amount of potential logistic challenges if we did utilize the morning of the 27th for a lot of the elements with candidate number 2. We could push the board interview maybe up for candidate 1 and back for candidate 2 on the 26th.
well, and like the only thing I worry about for candidate 2 is that in order to get home, it's like a 5-hour drive. So having her leave at like 12, it really pushes her like into midday. So I'm wondering if there's any way that like she has all morning, the Wednesday, the 26th. Is there any of these things that could be done in the morning with her, like the tour of the library? And just to let you guys know, I'm available starting at 11:30. So I can help with tours. I can help with any of that stuff.
I'm available. I left pretty much the whole day.
Yeah.
I can be there after 11, 10, 9 to 10, yeah, 11:30ish.
I can do some things the morning of the 26th. I think the key thing might be here,
Yeah.
the meet and greet with staff.
Right.
So maybe we move some of these things to the morning. I mean, I'd rather not have both candidates in the
Yeah.
library at the same
At
time.
the same time, yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Did we confirm that Renee is traveling on the 27th? I thought she was here for 3 days.
No, we said just 2 nights. So
Right, I know, but did we ask her if she's available the morning of the 27th?
I had told her, but I also told her that I thought we were going to get her on the road early so that if we were going to
Okay.
we were meeting in the morning. I thought we were just maybe going to do a breakfast with her, but with some of these things, it goes till later. I mean, I'm sure we could ask her, but she's got like a 5-hour drive back and that's
Okay.
without stops. Martha, what is like the availability for your staff on the 26th in the morning?
In the morning on the 26th, the main thing that we'll run into is that we've got some staff that work 1 to 9 on Wednesdays. So generally, if we try to do things, we try to kind of aim after 1 to get more people.
Yeah.
Let me see. the spruce room is booked on in the morning on the 26th. Is evening availability or is evening anything out of the question for the 26th?
I think she's available in I mean, we had asked her to make herself available from 1 o'clock on the
Okay.
26th.
Okay. Because I think that we do have evening availability on the 26th for staff. That was one that I'd made sure that we have evening availability. So if you want to have like the staff portion for candidate 2 on Wednesday evening, I think that should be doable.
So where would it happen, Martha? Because we would be in the spruce room with the board interview
On Wednesday, the 26th.
on Wednesday. And I thought we had a slime activity in the other room.
So this is the evening.
Yeah.
The-
And it
so
looks- she's already on at 5:45 for a board interview. So if that went for 75 minutes.
oh,
then-
okay, I see it. I misunderstood the chart. Okay, so you're doing the board interview on Wednesday. Okay.
Or even if like, Bonnie, I like how you put the tour at 5 o'clock. Maybe we just move the tour to there, but before the interview. And then the only thing she needs to do is do the meet and greet with the staff and directors on the 26th, if that works for Martha. I think that would be fine.
Sure.
And she just doesn't do the tour, and then she could leave right after that.
Oh. Yeah, she can do the tour either at 5 o'clock or in the morning of the 26th.
Yeah. Okay. So then Martha, it's whatever works best for you guys.
Okay, so we are doing sorry, I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this. So on Wednesday, you're having candidate 1.
Bonnie, can you slide this over to
Yep.
the right a little? Okay.
Yep, this is candidate 1 in blue, the biggest block here.
Okay.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then, okay, so staff isn't at 2 p.m. And then where did you want to move the staff meet and greet
So-
for candidate 2 on
So
Wednesday?
candidate 1, meet the department heads and then meet with all available staff is from 2:30 to 3:30.
Sure.
For candidate 2, I think we can still keep Thursday, October 27th
Mhm.
from 10:15 to 11:15. I didn't want to make it bang on 10 o'clock to allow
Mhm.
people to get in and get settled.
Sure. Okay.
If we can do the tour of the Lake Bluff Library with candidate 2 the morning of the 26th, and we can do the tour of the village the morning of the 26th.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can do a tour in the morning, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I cleared all my passport availability this week. So I could definitely do a tour in the morning on the 26th.
Well, so we're doing, I'm kind of lost with this. We're doing that at 9:30 in the morning, is it? No, tour of Lake Bluff, so breakfast.
Have not yet determined exactly what time for the tour of Lake Bluff Village or the tour of Lake Bluff Library.
So
but,
we're doing,
um,
And remind me, Bonnie, Eric's tour starts at going back to the 26th. Eric's tour starts at 2. Okay.
No, 3, well, he'll be in the library by roughly 2:15, 2:30, right in that window.
Okay. Because so it sounds like the available, so Martha, you're all set with where you're going to look at your times for when the library could give him a tour, right?
On the,
I'm sorry, for candidate number 2.
Okay,
Number 2, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think, I'm pretty sure I've just got time in the morning.
Okay.
So I can work that into your schedule.
Okay, and then I can be available starting at 11:30. So if we wanted to do the tour of the, are we gonna do the tour of the village first? Is that what you're thinking, Bonnie, or does it matter?
Does not matter to me.
Okay. Because are we gonna probably split up, and I don't know, are we gonna split up 2 trustees and 2 trustees with each of the candidates for the tour part or the lunch part?
Ideally. So,
So like, I know that I cannot attend the breakfast with the trustee, with candidate number 2 on the 27th. So I think
Okay.
Kathy, you said you were available on the morning of the 27th.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting, I was thinking library hours at 10.
Oh, okay.
So I've got an 8:30 appointment, so I mean, I just assumed we were talking about library hours.
And we haven't
In fact,
set,
I thought we would be really, the last conversation I thought we had was basically nothing really going on a Thursday, but except maybe a tour. So I would have to rule
I-
on breakfast, but
I'm quite available, any of those times, so
so we're looking at
plug me
9.
in anywhere you need me.
so maybe Janie and Bonnie could do that part with the breakfast. And then maybe if it's gonna be 2 people, maybe Kathy and I could do the tour. If we're gonna have 2 people with the candidate, maybe we could do the tour of the Lake Bluff Village.
Yeah.
So that she gets to talk to the candidate during that, and maybe so I could do that at 11:30 or later
Okay.
on the 26th.
on the 26th. So I'll get off work at like 11:30. So,
Working Wednesday, so Janie's got breakfast and then so that meal is 30 minutes, 60 minutes rather than 70. I think 70, frankly, I think 30 is a little short on
the tour.
of Lake Bluff.
Yes, I do too.
That could, and especially if you're also trying to have a conversation and get to know someone, that's
Right.
Mhm.
kind of impossible.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so Tour of Lake Bluff an hour, that's,
okay, so that'll take us, so then Kathy and I will be occupied till 12:30.
okay.
Okay, so we would meet candidate number 2 at the library and then take them in our car
Yeah.
on the tour. We could do a walking tour, like some of the things that I kind of thought of, we would wanna, maybe we'd do the walking tour first or something like that, go see the gazebo, because we talk about the different places where the programs are, show them the Mavery, where we have like trivia night, the history museum, and the fire station, village hall,
Yeah, yeah.
and those places. And then I thought we could get in the car because I thought maybe we'd tour them around the school. So we'd show them the elementary school, the park district, and the middle school.
Well, let's show them the lakefront too,
Yes, and the lakefront. I did have that on my list.
down Scranton Avenue, and then you show them the ravines. I mean, it's a beautiful town. Let's show
Right.
it off. We go down Scranton, across the ravine, up to middle school, then out west to elementary, golf course.
Go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So walk first and then, so I think that'll work.
Okay, perfect.
So that wraps up at 12:30.
Yes. And then
Okay.
she is done and can take, candidate number 2 is done then and can take a break until her board interview, which will start at 5:45.
Oh, okay.
Is that right? But, Bonnie, because
Yes.
then the next morning,
Yes.
she would start again. She would meet for breakfast with Janie and Bonnie. And then she would meet with, and then Martha, she's,
Yeah, I'm sorry. So but let's say on Wednesday, please, with one person. So she's out at, okay, so she's busy in the morning until 12:30, then she has a break till 5:45, and then we're sending her back until the next morning. I think that sounds really chunky.
unless we
Yeah.
can,
Yeah.
unless we can fit the meet and greet with the staff and the directors in at night on the 26th.
That would be ideal.
Okay, so as long as it works for you,
Oh,
Martha.
yeah, that would be really good if that would work.
The Wednesday, the 26th, have the staff.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I think, Martha, we're open to moving the board interview to whenever it would work. I mean, in the evening for, so
Mhm.
that your staff and your directors can meet with the candidate.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
about that board interview too, like if Bill and Matt come back and say, yes, we're available at 6:30 to dial in for the board interview, then I think maybe it wouldn't be a 5:45. We might have our own gap, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think the later the better for Bill and Matt. It sounded like Bill can make it work as long as it's more at night. Like, I don't think he'll be able to make anything work before 5 o'clock.
I'm thinking 6 is usually his threshold.
Yeah.
and so you'll definitely need the remote, the hybrid setup for remote attendance. Okay, I will let Anna know.
And that'll be in the Struth room, right?
It will be in, if it's Wednesday night, it will be in the youth activity room.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Okay, so Martha, after 5:30, what time could your staff meet with candidate number 2?
I would say just as far as timing, is 7 too late?
I think it's fine. I think she'd probably rather get more of it done the 26th than come back on the 27th.
Okay,
Okay.
just with timing meal breaks and that kind of thing, for the people who are working on Wednesday evening, that would probably make the most sense.
Okay.
Okay, so
Sorry, Martha, say that again. What time?
7.
okay, so she's being interviewed at 5:45 until 7. And then she's being toured for an hour or a half hour. We need to feed her.
Well, she's
Yeah.
gonna tour in the morning, right? Yes. Yes, and then we'll have to have some kind of,
I mean, we could, we could. How many staff member are we talking about
For
in total at an interview, whether they're touring or they're visiting?
I'm not 100% sure. I know that the department heads, it would be, there are 4 of us. I don't have a head count yet on the staff, just because we hadn't finalized a time and that impacts availability. But I can get that to you tomorrow.
Well, we could, I remember in front of me, we could look at our hospitality budget, and we could bring in pizza, we could bring in sandwiches. I don't know, post-COVID, what people do about group eating meeting. But I think if I were her and had just sat for an hour and 15 minutes of interviewing, which is just stressful, and then you're meeting more people and that's stressful. You get hungry, you get blood sugar, you need fluids. I think she should be fed, and we could include that with a meet and greet with staff, just a light sandwiches, something. I'm not opposed to it. If anybody else thinks it's a good idea, if you think it's a bad idea, speak up. But
no, I think that's fine. And the nice thing is she has a big break in her afternoon.
okay, so she's free till 6. Is that
Yeah,
right?
so we're gonna take her until from 11 to 12:30, but then she'll have
All right, I see what you mean.
a whole afternoon. I do like the idea of having a little water and like having, just a little something to eat, or she can
Right.
take a break, between the interview. Like we gave the other candidate a little 15-minute break.
Yeah.
But yeah, the nice thing is she really does have the whole afternoon kind of to
Okay.
herself.
You're right. All right, so I will bring in water, and I'll have cheese and crackers on the interview table. So it just gives you something to do with your hands, nibble if you feel like it, and that way
Yeah.
she can grab something. Okay, that's, I just didn't want her to be dropping of starvation.
So maybe Bonnie, should we add in, so the board interview goes for 75 minutes, and then should we add in a 15-minute break before she meets with the department heads?
I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Martha, does that give you any heartburn?
Well,
That your part would start at 7:30,
Right.
your interview and me.
Yeah, but that should be fine.
Okay, perfect.
So does that get her to
So-
do everything? Is that
Yes, and then she has her breakfast in the morning on the 27th on Thursday with Janie and Bonnie, and then she can get on the road right after that.
So let me throw something out there. I actually do have a doctor's appointment on the 27th as well. I'd rather not miss it.
Mm-hmm.
Janie, would you be available to do breakfast with myself and candidate number 2 on Wednesday, October 26th, that morning?
Yes, I'm
Awesome.
available to whatever and yeah,
Perfect.
Okay.
so we're gonna
Okay.
see a lot of each other, Bonnie. I'll know how you take
Indeed.
your coffee.
All right. So candidate number
Okay.
2 is finished.
Let's just take another look at side by side.
Yeah.
Are we tying ourselves up
Compatible.
too tight? Sorry, the font's gotten a little small here. Do this. And the other thing, all right, so candidate 1, lunch would start at 12:15. I bumped everything up a little bit because our tour of Lake Bluff has been bumped to 60 minutes. So 12:15 lunch and tour.
Okay.
Okay.
By 2:30, and again, I think there's an appropriate amount of like wiggle room here, which is
Yeah.
good. By 2:30, we are then in the spruce room for meet the department heads, followed by meet all available staff. 3:30 break. I'm not sure where we're going to give the candidates to break. Like, can they have a little place where they can return a phone call or look at email real quick or whatever?
Or in the live, jeez, long day, museum.
Is
In the
that,
museum would be good.
Yeah,
Okay. Then a 30-minute tour of the library. Again, just Martha, I want to make sure that's enough time.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
plenty.
Okay. And then a board interview that starts at 4:15 and runs for 75 minutes. Candidate 1 is complete at 5:30.
all right, so who's going to be at the board interviews? Could we go over that?
So I have to leave by 5:10
Okay,
or 5 o'clock. So I wouldn't be able to be there for the whole interview. I could be there for 45 minutes.
okay. I can be there the whole time.
I can be there the whole time.
as can I.
Jenny, so I think if there's any room where there's more, maybe there is room then to start this at 4 o'clock. We can always bump this to the very, very first thing to 12 noon.
We could also make it an hour lunch. I think 75 minutes.
So if you do the lunch though, you and Janie would have to do it because Kathy and I will still be on a tour till 12:30
Mhm.
with,
That's fine, I can do that.
okay, with candidate number 1. And then maybe I could do the tour again because since I've already have done it.
So that's 1:30. I can tour with you.
Okay.
So we can do that. We'll get it down.
Okay.
So then, okay, so then they will have met all 4 of us, or candidate 1. So it would be very nice if we could get, so we're looking at 4:15. I don't think we'll get additional trustees, but we can just explain that.
Yeah. It's a bummer because Bill didn't get to meet candidate 1 at all.
And he had some questions about him.
Mm-hmm.
Do
It doesn't,
is candidate 1 perhaps the candidate from the West?
he's, candidate 1
No.
has the
We can
8
can we make this schedule for candidate 1, the schedule for this
Awesome.
schedule for the candidate from the West?
I think that's a good idea. Because he was on one of the interviews, so he's already met one of the candidates, but he did not get to meet the other one
So he didn't meet candidate 1.
that has the 8-hour drive. Yeah,
Okay.
I think we're talking about the same person.
Yes.
So is the candidate with the 8-hour drive going to be available at 9:30 in the morning on the 26th?
He is booked for a room, so I think that we could just, I had promised to send them a schedule, so I can confirm with him tonight, if we can just send him a draft of the schedule. But he's arriving on the 25th, so I would think a 9:30 breakfast should be fine.
Don't forget, Jenny, it's an hour later there.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah. Yes, but I think that, we had told them 1 o'clock, but now that they're both staying over the night before, it gives us more
Yeah.
time in the morning since they're not traveling that day. So I
Mhm.
think it should be fine. But I
Okay.
would rather have candidate 2 have the later interview time so that Bill could possibly meet the person
Okay,
and maybe another trustee, because I don't think there was other trustees on that call. I think it was just the 4 of us.
So this is now
So
candidate with the shorter drive.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
why don't we use initials and then we can,
Okay,
So candidate 1 is R and candidate 2 is E.
yeah.
Okay. So just so I make sure to send them their correct schedule,
That would be a mess if we screwed that up.
right?
all right, so then here we would have roughly a 9:30 start for breakfast. Bonnie and Janie and I covered that. Bonnie and I, whoever Bonnie is, covered that. And then the thing is, in the village, the only place that I know of for breakfast is Bluffington's.
Yeah,
Quite casual, not the easiest place to have a conversation. So
So I'm thinking maybe take them down to Egg Harbor.
yeah,
or Panera.
Oh, there you go.
Um,
That's at least like Bluff.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's better.
And then a tour of the library starting around 11. Tour of Lake Bluff Village, that would be Kathy and Jenny. Again, just to make sure we've,
So we're talking 1:30 on Wednesday.
1:30 Wednesday afternoon and 11:30 Wednesday
Okay.
morning.
Okay.
And Bonnie, do we want to give him a little break in between his tours and his interview? A 15
E?
minute- Sorry, oh yeah, no, I guess that'd be fine, because it's not that much. No, that's fine. Because is he going from 9:30 to right to the Lake Bluff? I'm just wondering if we want to give him a 15-minute break in between the tour of the library and the tour of the village. Because it doesn't look like Kathy and I will be pressed for time to get back for candidate number, the other candidate.
Yeah. I mean, whenever somebody needs a break.
Yeah,
they'll be
we
able
don't need to
have one.
push through.
Wait,
Yeah,
I kind of lost you, Jenny. What do you say that? We're touring number 2 at
Right,
11:30, and then he has a sizable break.
yeah, yes, yeah, I'm sure it's fine for him to do the tour of the library and then the village right away.
okay, and we're expecting at 6 o'clock, the board members available for candidate 2's interviews would be Kathy, Janie, Jenny, when you come back, you'll join,
Yeah,
Bonnie, hopefully Matt.
I don't think Matt is involved in this.
yeah,
No,
I
Bill,
don't think, he said he wasn't available.
Yeah, I don't think Matt is.
okay,
Bill is a maybe. I
So,
think
and-
Bill's,
and John
I
is a
think Bill is a
maybe, right?
probable for 6 o'clock, but,
Yes,
and
And-
John, we haven't heard from John. I'm gonna email John this schedule. John is just really busy, so once he has a firm schedule, he'll give us an opinion, I'm sure.
yes, because I think if there's any interview we'd like for them to attend, it would be this candidate number 2, so they can meet him.
Yeah.
The other one they've already met, so that's good. So
So
she's,
everybody has met candidate 2E, but not everybody has met candidate 1R.
correct. Yes, John and Bill were able to attend our interview over the phone, our Zoom interview. for R, but for E, it was two, they weren't able to make it.
Okay.
Okay.
All
So-
right, the only other thing I would suggest is if you're gonna provide, light snacks at some point in there, just to let them know so they're not worried about trying to go grab a McDonald's or something.
Well, I'm thinking, actually, if I sort of dismiss the idea of a meal, if he's free from 12:30 until 6, he could easily pick up a sandwich somewhere.
Right,
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then we'll go on to interview. And then there's a break. I mean, as I said, I'll get cheese and cracker or something on the table. There'll be water. But it sounds as though he would be covered to get himself a meal, which will compensate him for.
right.
And then she,
right.
I believe, also has, but she's done at 5:30. So she's having lunch. Yeah, so she should be good.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, I would think, yeah, lunch here. I would think if there's a little something available just to
Yeah.
fill the tank
Yeah.
right there, hopefully. I'll be
So I just
good.
want to go, so we are interviewing from 4:15 until 5:30, and then 6 to 7:15.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
and when is Katie's?
So candidate 3K. The preferred date from Katie, we had given her 2 dates. She said she preferred the evening of Thursday, October 27th. I just figured 5:30 or later based on availability in general of our board members. Maybe it's 6 o'clock.
Mhm.
Martha, you're still there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, meet and greet. And all available. Any thoughts on when, on the 27th, that could be?
Yeah, I talked to her
Yeah.
today and we thought 3 o'clock would work just with everything that's going, I can't, no, slime is Wednesday. That should be, yeah, 3 should work.
There you go.
If we could manage to keep the board interview at 5:30, because that's the only thing that I have on my whole calendar, both of those days, Wednesday and Thursday, is I've got a meeting at 7 o'clock at Village Hall.
Mhm.
And
Jenny, are you available on Thursday at 5:30?
Yes. Yes, but I can't help with lunch or the tour. Sorry, I'm working in that day.
Okay,
I can do either or both.
Oh, so now yeah, I can do lunch and tour. So Janie, you want to pair up with me?
Sure.
We'll figure out where do you want to go? Or we could ask Katie, she knows them.
Well, just because she works here doesn't mean she knows the area
Yeah.
real well, other than probably what's right around the library, I would guess. I don't know.
Martha, quick question for you. How likely is it that candidate number 3 is going to really be, since this individual is an internal candidate, is going to be distracted by work things going on? Or can this individual be not scheduled to work? What do you recommend?
Oh, you mean in terms of like having other stuff happen at the library?
Nothing ever happens at the library.
Right.
I keep saying I would like to live in less interesting times. I think she's planned to have that day as available as she can. And, if something were to happen, I think technically I'm in charge, and I'll be there. So
Okay.
I'll put out any fires,
Mhm.
That'd be great.
literal and metaphorical.
Is she planning on being in the building when the other two candidates are there? I can remember discussing this, but I can't remember what decision was made as to how to handle it.
Yeah, she was planning on it and participating in at least the department head interviews, just because she was like, you know, this could be my new boss. I'd like to at
Yeah,
least know
okay.
some. So yeah, that's what she's planning on.
Okay.
Does Innovasi take reservations? I never go there for lunch.
Good
Don't
question.
know.
Let's see, I'll look it up.
Or maybe I just,
So just looking at the schedule, does it make more sense for candidate 3 to do dinner with a couple of trustees?
candidate 3. She's doing lunch.
Janie has a meeting at 7, right? But
Yes,
we could do it before that
yes,
and she could still do the interview.
yes.
So if we did dinner at 5, all right, would that give us enough time?
Well, I guess just Janie wouldn't be able to participate in much of the interview. We'd be there 5 to 6. So we'd be 6:30 on, and she's got a 7 o'clock meeting. So I think she was saying Thursday. I'd say, why not just leave it the way, I mean, is there a problem with the way it is?
Nope, that's fine. Just the block there. I just thought maybe if lunch shifted to dinner, it was a continuous. No, I think it's fine. It's fine.
And hopefully for the candidate number 3, Bill and John, or Bill, maybe they'll be able to attend. I think Bill said he might be available the evening of the 27th in person. So he was not able to attend this interview either. So it'd be nice if he'd be able to join us. So maybe we can send them both times for candidate E and candidate K.
Kathy, in answer to your question, yes, Innovasi does take reservations. You go to their website, you'll find it, and it describes it as a modern American bistro with a roof garden. I'd love to know about the roof garden at Innovasi.
An old building to be standing on top of.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay.
I don't know how long you've all been in town, but Janie and I would remember the day part of it collapsed. So I'd be real.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I forgot
I
about
don't think
that.
I'm hanging out on top.
By the way, did everybody find my envelopes in your mailboxes today?
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Good
Thank you.
job.
Thank
Good job.
you. So I think, are we good with schedules? Because I think Martha, then do we need anything else from Martha then? Martha, are you all set with your feedback forms and stuff for your staff?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask, I know I had mentioned it in an email, and I think just with all the back and forth, it got lost. What I was thinking about doing, as long as you're all okay with it, was I was gonna have a web form for the staff to fill out with their thoughts, and it'll go to the board email, and it will work this time, and we won't have any problems. Would that work for you? It would probably be anonymous, or I can make it named too. I wasn't sure what would be the most useful.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay.
And I think Martha, I think we sent you the rubric because there was definitely some areas in the rubric that I think the staff will be able to inform us
Okay.
on what you think is, let me look at the rubric. I think we talked about like circulation, maybe that was technology.
I know collection development was on there.
There you go, yeah.
So you want feedback on each of those points then?
Yeah, I think those would be really, I think you could help us with those in those areas.
Okay.
The marketing, library services, I know Jillian, I think, is very familiar with that. So, I mean, and of course, like the physical facilities, you guys really know the building. I mean, we did talk about that and Janie was really able to speak to that, but you guys will also have your own take on that too.
Mhm.
And professional development.
Okay,
And you guys as librarians, well, I think will be more familiar with what you're looking for than the board. I think the trustees would. So,
okay.
did I miss anything, anyone?
I have a quick suggestion. In the spirit of transparency, I think it's appropriate to let the external candidates know that there is an internal candidate and who it is. Especially since Katie's going to attend the meet and greets.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah. I suppose if we tell them there is an internal candidate, then it's going to be more of a guessing game than if we actually told them who. And she knows full well that they're candidates, so.
Right. And I believe, you know, Martha, did you share the resumes and cover letters with all the department heads, including Katie?
Yes.
But then I'm thinking, well, if one of the external candidates is hired, then he or she knows that Katie was, a competitor. I don't know if that means anything.
I mean, they might have guessed just because she's the interim
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, right.
And I think it's better in the end that everybody knows.
Yeah.
I after giving it some thought, I think you're right. I think that they should be told.
Yeah, again, I think it's only fair because, you know, there's been communication in one direction to the internal candidate regarding the external candidates, but not the other way around.
So a logistical question. I'm just going to wait till I have this thing in front of me at this point, but reflecting on what we were just doing, the break area, at least for one of our candidates, is the museum space. Has that space been reserved?
What I did was I asked Kathy O if we could use it, and she said yes. There's nothing else scheduled for that at that time. If you'd like me to clarify that.
I would, just to be
Make
sure that
sure.
nothing slips her mind. It's a busy week for the museum folks.
Yeah,
And that it's also not, sometimes it's pretty busy and cluttered up there. So, and if I'm correct, Martha, there's a restroom on the first floor directly across the aisle from Eric's or from the director's office. Is that correct?
Sorry, yes, yes, that's correct.
And does somebody need a key for that? Because I think that's a relatively private, quiet area to tell the candidates if you need to refresh, get a drink of water, whatever, that bathroom is right there. But do they have to run and get a key from someone or?
They would need to get a key. It's available at the front desk.
Okay, great. I don't want to send them into one of those other bathrooms, God forbid.
that one with the new toilet.
Yeah, it could be worse. Could be the old toilets.
Yeah, really.
So then Martha, for the evening of the 27th, can you reserve us a room for the 3 o'clock hour for the meet and greet and then all available staff, as well as from 5:30 on for the board interview?
Yeah, let me, I might have, let me see, I could have already done that. I've lost track of what I've done and not done. And let's see, the 20. Let's see. Sorry, my computer is not cooperating with me. Okay, it looks like I had booked on the 27th from 6 o'clock on. I booked the youth activity room because the Spruce room has a program.
Okay.
But is your interview is starting at 5:30?
Yes.
Okay, I can modify that.
I'm gonna move, I just, I need to get back to my power source, so I'm just gonna be moving around here.
Oh, that's okay. So I've updated the booking for the youth activity room to start at 5. And I will put in a reservation too for the 3 to 4.
Okay. And that's going to be at the youth activity room.
For the staff portion, I think we can actually, I think the spruce room is actually available. Maybe I spoke too soon on that. You would think after looking at these dates for as many times as I have, I would just know, but
Been moving around a little bit.
Mm.
let's see. Okay, yeah, it looks like the spruce is available for the, oh wait, yes, I'm looking at the correct date. Yeah, it looks like it's available for 3.
Okay. And then at 5:30, the board interview will start in the youth activity room.
Yes.
Okay. And once you have that done, I just want to make sure that on the evening of the 26th, we are in Spruce for the board interviews.
You are in the youth activity room for board interviews on the 26th. So I guess you're in the youth activity room for both.
So I thought there was a slime activity that I would have expected was taking place in the youth activity room.
That's at 4 on Wednesday.
Okay.
And for, let's see. Wait, and Wednesday, the board interview for the first candidate, that is at 5?
No, 4:15.
4:15. Oh, okay, yeah. 4:15, then yeah, you would be in the spruce room. Sorry about that. I lost track of where we were. But
Can we have the Spruce room for the both interviews on the evening of the 26th?
okay, on the evening of the 26th, we've got a community member in the spruce room. So you've got the youth activity room on the evening of the 26th. I booked it from 6 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the interview at 4 on, let's see. Oh, I did book it. Oh, okay. So I have you also booked for the spruce room on the 26th. It looks like I blocked out the 2:30 to 5:30 hour for spruce.
But
Is that?
But at 6 o'clock, we have to move to the youth activity room.
Yes. Let me
Do you know
see.
what the community event is happening in Spruce? Could it be moved? Spruce.
You know, I'll need to double check with Anna. I don't know that it's a huge deal to move them. But Anna's worked with them more directly, so let me
Mhm.
I'll make a note to
What do the other board members think about asking whatever a community event is currently booked booked for Spruce, asking them if they would move to the youth activity so we don't have to move.
Well, the negative is I would rather not do that. The positive is we wouldn't have to move the hybrid nonsense and snacks and all that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, well, and Anna might prefer that since she's gonna be setting up
Right.
the hybrid.
and the slime elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
it's a-
yeah, what do you know? What the community members doing with it? Is it a?
it's the Toastmasters group.
Oh,
So it's just speeches. I don't know, like sometimes they use the projector, but I am not as familiar with it as Anna is. So she might be able to she'll have more information about their needs and
Bonnie, is it just an aesthetics to you, the Spruce room, or? do you
It's both. It's, you know, once we're in there and we're settled, with especially equipment,
Yeah.
audiovisual equipment and the hospitality piece, I just think it's gonna be,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
I think it's also the aesthetics, honestly, yes, but
yeah,
there's the practical and there's the,
yeah. But the flip of that is I see the going back and forth, and that's what libraries do. I mean, show it, and they ought to be. I think they know the flexibility issues of libraries. But Martha, why don't we have Anna just go back to the community member if we're without creating a big inconvenience, because they did schedule it appropriately ahead of time. Could we?
Yeah.
Could we make a switch?
yeah, sure. I will follow up with her on that tomorrow.
And in the end, I don't think we're going to need the hybrid option for the other candidate. So I think we could just prepare the hybrid for candidate E. Because I don't think any other board members are going to be able to make the earlier candidates interview. But we can see.
okay,
What time is candidate one? Right, R. The
Mhm.
first interview is at what time?
4:15, is that what you said?
4:15.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't rule Bill out. Bill will do whatever he can. He's just that kind of guy. So if we can have that, and they have to set up hybrid anyway, so if we're in the same room, which would be easier. They'll
Yeah.
just be there. And perhaps John as well. So
Okay. So I think, are we all settled with rooms and schedules?
Hope so.
yeah,
Ew,
Sure.
I do have a
lost me about
question.
an hour ago.
Yeah, I do have a question, but I don't want to tie Martha up anymore. So
Yes, because I have a few more things I'd like to go over, if
good.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But Martha, you can, I don't have anything else for you.
Okay, yeah, and then if you can just send me the that spreadsheet and I'll confirm that we have everything and get that ironed out and well, we should be good to go.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Martha.
Yeah,
Thank
of course. Happy to help. Have a
you.
good evening.
You too.
What's left of it?
Yeah, really.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Martha. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to ask about was meals and reimbursement. Do I just tell them to keep receipts for when they are traveling and we're reimbursing, or do I give them like a spending limit for, I don't know how this works.
Bonnie,
What would you suggest? Like, do you give them a stipend for, I'm sorry, whatever you call it, like a
Per
for
diem.
meals,
Per diem.
So,
a per
so
diem?
it was a little different in my industry because if we were to entertain clients, we had a maximum amount we could spend on dinner, including tip.
Oh.
So that was usually a guideline. And if you saw a candidate spend a lot, it was a little bit of a,
Right.
so we never gave a specific spending limit.
Okay.
But again, there's an industry-wide max on entertainment for a dinner meeting. That maximum, I believe, is $125, which is quite generous for, one person.
Yeah.
Probably a little different than our library budget.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But like,
Why
I'm
don't we
thinking,
just kind of talking about on the road nourishment or sustenance here. We're talking about driving, which is probably 2 meals because they both have a long way to go.
Right.
And then I haven't kept track of this well enough to know how many meals they have.
So they'd have the 26th, they're gonna be here all day, so it'd be like 3 meals, right? Because we're feeding them 1, so they'd be responsible for 2, getting 2 of their own meals.
Yeah.
The 25th, they're gonna be on the road probably. I mean, candidate E might have to have lunch and dinner on the road. I mean, and candidate R might need 2 meals on the 25th. And then the 27th, or I would think probably at least 2 meals, right? Because they have breakfast at the hotel. Is it complimentary?
No,
Okay.
and it's
And-
outrageously expensive.
Oh, okay. So then, so we probably should then offer, like, right, so it looks like they're gonna have like 6 meals at least. And so maybe we would say, we would do, per meal or something. I don't know. Would you do like $25, $30?
30 times 6 is 180. So we could give them a $200 allowance.
Okay,
It seems
How does that sound?
reasonable.
yeah,
That seems reasonable.
Okay. So a $200 food allowance. We're giving them mileage, which covers, use of their car and gas.
mm-hmm.
The
How much
hotel,
are we
they will,
giving? What is the mileage amount?
So the mileage amount was like 58 cents a mile. And then covering their gas. So I think,
well, that should cover gas.
well, you also reimburse them for the mileage they drive on their car.
But I thought that mileage allowance included gas,
Included gas?
covered gas.
No, the mileage is just per mile. You pay them per mile. This is what I understood from the IRS standards. For business travel, you get reimbursed per mile on your car, and then you also get reimbursed for gas, which is separate from gas.
Yeah, the mileage covers like, if you will, if you were to prorate car insurance, maintenance and
yeah, yeah.
repair.
Okay, I misunderstood that. Okay, so, all right, so $200 for meals, gas,
Yes. Yeah.
mileage, or whatever that's worth, and tolls.
Oh yeah, I had to
Mhm.
think about tolls. But yeah, okay, yes,
Because he'll have tolls.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't know if Minnesota has a toll road, but
and he said, and it looks like his round trip for mileage alone would be 340, and hers would be, it looks like about 240 for just her mileage. And then we have 2 nights at 168 at the hotel, right?
Are they staying at the same hotel?
Yeah,
They are.
they're both staying in Deerfield. I think the hotels were so expensive, other places, that when Kathy looked.
yeah, the restaurant at this place for breakfast was like, well, I mean, it's a brunch, but it was pretty expensive, I thought. However, I thought that Deerfield was a good location. There's tons of restaurants in Deerfield.
Yeah,
There are.
no, it's really nice, and it's very convenient.
Yeah.
From where they're going.
So they're at the Deerfield Hyatt.
Yeah,
Yes. So they both booked their own rooms, and then we're reimbursing them.
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And then for the lunch that we're taking them, whichever one of the trustees, I assume we just pay with a credit card and then put that in for reimbursement. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And Jenny, will you keep track of all this so we know what this actually did cost us?
Yeah.
I told Bill about $1,000 per, which I think was saving the airfare. It's probably close to that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yes. I will send you guys like an estimate of what I think it's going to cost.
Just keep in mind that most institutions, if they don't have an in-house HR department, they hire an outside HR person for something like this. So, that's a cost that the library is saving by us doing this.
Yeah.
So, gotta crack some eggs to make an omelet.
Mhm.
Right, but unfortunately, we just never anticipated, it's just not in our budget, and we've got the money. but
Yeah,
fortunately,
I know, it's gonna have to
Um,
come out of
And the
somewhere.
offset with salaries between Eric and Katie makes up for the whole thing anyway, but it's, it's, the village gets all excited when we change lines around, so we've been kind of driving them crazy this year. so. I mean, it was $35,000 overdrawn on the screw through at one point, so.
Wow.
We're just making some noise.
All right. Okay, that was one of my questions. One of my other questions was, what are we doing about questions for the interview? Are we going to get more questions from Bill? Do we send out an email to all the trustees asking them if they have questions to email them to us?
That's a good point. I have a question that I intend, since I'm doing both interviews.
Yes.
I am going to, I'll paraphrase it, but we have a very talented, cohesive team that or staff that works together as a close team. How would you manage this team group in a way to make the library an even better place? I think there's, I think the team is going to be very close, and I've seen this with Katie. I mean, they kind of move as a big group, so it's going to be tough for someone to come in and break through that and be a good leader.
Yeah.
My questions, I'd like to focus on the transitions between roles with our external candidates and probably the internal candidate too. I think it's helpful to understand what was the context for someone to move from one role to another, especially when you're moving from one employer to a different one. So that's what I would be focusing on. I spoke to one of Renee's references today. Sorry, candidate E. And
Candidate R, right?
R. Did I say D?
You said
I'm
E.
very tired.
I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to make sure that I the right person. I was thinking of the right person for candidate E. I was like, did I get it wrong?
Yeah. I also think it's interesting to see like someone to say, well, I took this lateral move in order to get blank experience. Like those I find those. So that's why I pick at transition sometimes, is just to understand, why did you pursue this? Why at that time? What did you learn? Okay, let's go to the next transition. So that's the kind of, I'm sorry, I'm not very or brief or intelligent at the moment. I'm a little spent.
We're all
I
tired.
had another board meeting for a different group this evening as well.
Oh my, oh my.
I think this is about 5 hours in a row on Zoom.
Well, Bonnie, you'll
But does that-
figure it out. You've got a good, whatever, you'll figure it out, whatever the
Yeah.
question is.
But does that make sense? I mean, that's what I would really, and I'll preface it by saying, hey, I'd like to understand kind of how your career progressed and why, certain moves are made in your career. So let's just talk about that. And so it might, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe.
See, I know we also need to question candidate E about his leaving the library. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. I would also frankly want to ask, candidate R seems very enthusiastic. I don't know why she hasn't stepped out of children's services and spread her wings and gotten some more experience.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. I did ask one of the references of candidate R that question.
Yeah.
I was happy with the response, and I'll share it in my notes.
Great.
And just looking back at Bonnie, the original questions that we had drafted before our first interview, there are some questions on here that we didn't really get to address in the first interview. Like some of these introductory questions, like why are you interested in this position? I feel like some of these can be enlightening in light of what we know now about
Yeah.
some of these candidates. So I'm wondering if we want to go back, or if you want me to go back and kind of look at these and kind of highlight the ones we didn't get to address, because maybe those would be our general questions for all three of the candidates, and then people could also add in their own questions of what
Mhm.
they're thinking specifically that came up because of their interviews.
Great idea.
Yep, that sounds good.
Okay, so I'll do that. How about I will look at these and then send these to, and then do we send them out to all the trustees and ask them if they have additional questions that they'd like added, to add it to, or is that right? To email me back or something like that with their additional questions?
I
Sounds
think
good.
that's a good idea.
Okay, and then it just at least gives us, even if we don't stick to the document, at least it gives us a space to start. And then how are we getting feedback from the trustees? Are we just having them do like a plus or minus if they like someone, or if they think of the candidate is a good match, or is it, and then we're just doing a
Well-
discussion on the 20 later?
At some point, I remember talking about the candidate rubric that, that Jenny, you sent out, believe it or not, on the 10th,
Yeah,
A through K. And I thought we were going to just take that and have people put plus or minus and space for comments.
perfect. I think that's great.
Do you want me to type this up so that everybody has something to fill out and distribute it?
Yeah, that works for me. Bonnie, it looks like you had something you wanted to say.
I was gonna suggest, do we have to post anything about the interviews that we're having, or can we? I was thinking maybe on the 27th, when we're done with Katie's interview,
Mhm.
we have what would be, just a debrief discussion about the candidates
Okay,
as a board on the evening of the 27th after Katie's.
okay.
I mean, at some point, we need to have a debrief on the candidates.
And
It's
it
gonna
should
be,
be very soon after. as
Right.
Soon after as possible, while everybody's responses
Right.
are
Yeah.
fresh in their mind.
I think that's crucial because I have to share that as far as I'm concerned, we have 4 alternatives. We have 3 candidates and doing nothing at this time. I consider that an alternative at this point. So we have to sit down and talk and be sure we're making the right decision at the right time.
so we
Which
do-
actually,
do
Bonnie,
we-
I'm sorry, go ahead, guys.
I was saying, do we do that as like a special session of the entire board?
Sure. Yeah,
So then we might want to get something posted for the 28th.
I would suggest
To
that this
post it.
committee first debriefs and has a recommendation,
Okay,
and
okay.
then goes to the full board for a decision.
Mhm.
And I'm going to jump another phase here, but Bonnie, what is how do you handle a moving stipend, or how do you how do we evaluate that?
You know what? I could reach out to 1 or 2 of the consultants that I had gotten in touch with and ask them if it's typical in the industry.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I could, the 2 libraries I recently contacted as part of the HR benchmarking, Jenny, remember you, me?
Yeah. Yes, I still have all
forget-
my notes that I've been
I forget who else, I guess, it was HR. I took
know what,
Deerfield and,
I can reach out to Eric as well.
yeah, great,
Okay,
great.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Yes, because
'Cause I-
just so you know, Bonnie, Heidi is who you talked to at Highland Park was a reference for someone.
Thank you. Okay,
Just an FYI.
okay, yeah. So I can ask them I could ask Highland Park, Deerfield, and Northbrook about whether or not
Great.
they've provided moving stipends for staff hired who outside of,
Yeah, terrific. Thank you.
The-
Thank you. Yeah,
sure.
that gives us a fair point of view, I think.
Okay, can I ask one last thing?
Yeah.
We talked to the village about background checks and those kind of things. So do
Yeah.
we need to do a background check before we've narrowed it down the candidates? Do they all have to fill out the paperwork when they're here in town?
Okay, Bonnie or Benita, that is for the final candidate only.
The final candidate only. Okay,
Yeah, and I think it's part of the offer.
okay, so
that,
it's like,
Part of the offer would be contingent upon.
Yeah, yeah.
okay,
And
okay.
the only thing they can do the background check is it's simply name and birth date. So that can be done long distance. The physical is simply blood work and I think of blood pressure, they listen to your heart or whatever. And that's typically done at the Lake Forest Urgent Care. So she was going to have Glenn, who works over at, he was out last week and I'll check and see if he's back. She was going to follow up with him. We were kind of brainstorming that whatever community these folks are in, actually would be the one individual. Is there an urgent care? Is there a hospital or somehow that we could do this long distance? I don't know. That was the only thing we can't accomplish is the physical, unless we made him the offer the 27th, which I don't think we're going to do. So.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we don't need it. And when we go to visit Village Hall, are we going to meet anyone, Kathy?
I hadn't set anything up. I guess, I don't know. Do you really want to? I mean, then we have to set up a time and
So we
plug
just
into
go
that.
show them Village Hall?
Yeah, show them Village Hall. Yeah, I mean, everything's decorated for Halloween around town. It looks kind of fun. And I think that's sufficient. I mean, we can explain that we're a village and that this is where the Village Hall meets and there's a village president. We'll explain the system of government. So I think that's, otherwise you're going to have to tie up Drew and Drew he's really been helpful, but he definitely is passing this along to a second in command.
Okay,
For the candidate's information, when the time comes, that is the location of Benita, and she is the person who will direct processing of benefits and all that kind of stuff. So it gives them, a mark, a place with that's important to them in the long run. So
perfect. I think that was all of my questions.
I have a quick one. Have we been able to get a copy of an offer letter from the village yet?
I did, there was one attached to what I forwarded from Drew. So I
Okay, great.
resend that if I can resend that after our meeting tonight.
Yeah, that was for a much different kind of position than what we're offering. So
right, but it basically addresses salary, and it gives a period of time of sort of what's the word? I really am. I just can't even think of it right now. Not probation, but
well, I think it is
evaluation.
something like that. It's like a probationary period.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we would be doing something like that here because.
Well, I would suggest it's subject to an evaluation in 6 months. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a probationary period.
No. One other question, what was it? Along those lines. I don't know. I'll think of it.
Bonnie, can you send me the updated interview schedule after we're done?
Yes,
So I can
yes,
send-
I'm gonna, is it okay? I was gonna polish it up a little bit tomorrow morning when I'm a little less computer weary. Is that okay?
Yes, but maybe I will
Yeah.
email Eric just to let him know, just to check in with him to make sure, oh, sorry, to make sure it's okay if we change the schedule so that he's meeting at 9 o'clock. His morning would start on the 26th at 9. Is that right?
When we pop
Instead of-
over there.
Instead of 1 o'clock.
9:30.
9:30. Okay, perfect. just so he has a heads up, and that, because I'm also gonna let them know about the stipend and stuff like that for their food, the
Yep.
food allowance and stuff, and then I'll let them know that we'll have the final schedule for them tomorrow morning.
Great.
Okay.
Do we have a salary history on these two people?
No.
Okay,
So we do,
I think we do on E. I'm
Some-
not sure about-
Yeah, I kind of recall. I'm just thinking, as a committee, we also should make in making a recommendation to the board, we should give a salary range and have the board consult on that. I think Eric was making 105,000, and I think we posted 90 to 106, something like that. So
Sounds
that's
right.
something to keep in mind.
yeah, we know the range that was posted as a backfill for one of our candidates. I could ask over email the other candidates, direct manager to confirm.
Or
current-
DR.
So
Yes,
Did she tell us? I don't remember.
I've got
Okay.
that stuff here.
not that I remember.
Another thing, God, there's so many things. Another thing is availability. That can come up maybe through it when we're having lunch or certainly at the interview, but when would the candidate be available if he or she were chosen? We're basically November 1st. We have to think about when we want to bring this person on and when it's realistic. Frankly, I'm actually thinking as far, even like January 10th or something, but do we want to bring someone in to our staff, which is parsed in from Thanksgiving to Christmas? That's just a very busy time and there's so many activities. So just something to kind of think about there.
I didn't see anything in ours papers about a salary.
It's, remember, we did have a candidate who had a number of questions regarding compensation. I think because we published a range, the candidate's probably clear as to whether or not they'd be interested in that range. But like I said, I'd be happy to email.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking
Reference.
as a committee discussing the range, we have one director experience, we have one non-director experience. So discussing a fair
Mhm.
range for what we know.
Whose dog is that? I love it.
There's actually two of them. That's the problem.
That's so funny. I love that.
Okay.
Okay, I know everybody's really tired. I think that was everything. And the great thing is we're all going to be spending a lot of time together. So
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
we'll be able to find more time if we have more questions.
You know something, if we forgot anything, we can just wing it.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, so I will send out the schedule tomorrow. I'll make sure the font's nice and big.
Thank you.
Bonnie.
Yeah, and keep running it through the filters after they've been recharged this evening.
Thank you so much, everybody. I move to adjourn.
I second. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
9:41.
Thanks,
Good
everybody.
night.
Night.
Good night.
Right.